taxi.
Mom, what are you doing? This is the 77 WABC minicast.
How about this one? Tish James. Anybody know her? The Attorney General of New York State. I don't think she's a real lawyer. I know she's a real dummy. She's the one who brought that ludicrous case trying to say that, Mar-a-Lago is worth 20 cents, right? And that nutjob Bozo the Clown judge, they got to go along with it. She, curiously, is supporting Jay Clayton, the former U.S. attorney for the Southern District under President Trump. Jay Clayton has been nominated, as you may know, for the Director of National Intelligence. And I don't understand why she would be supporting him. And part of me does. Look, he's a lawyer. I guess she's kind of a lawyer. The office probably cooperated with each other, right? The offices cooperate. I do find it a little bit bizarre, though, that she would come out for him publicly. It's a bit of a bombshell. Jay Clayton, I think, is a good guy, but some people are raising questions. Hey, if you got support like this, why do you have it? And what does it say about you? Now, I met Jay Clayton once. I just met him once. What the hell do I know? But President Trump, I believe, has confidence in him. I'd like to bring in one of our favorites, Joel Gilbert, the amazing investigative journalist and filmmaker and author. Letitia James endorses Trump's DNI nominee, Jay Clayton, and MAGA is demanding answers. Joel, welcome back. Why would Tish James endorse a guy like Jay Clayton?
I think it's two things. Number one, like most Democrats, they have this bizarre fear of Bill Pulte. They think that he's a Trump supporter and will do anything to support Trump. So they've got a genuine fear of Pulte. Secondly, I think Jay Clayton is a kind of New York insider. He's been working in the New York system for many years. Letitia's probably ran into him, is familiar with him. So she's given her stamp of endorsement, and I made the case that that's a problem. We need to ask a lot of questions why Letitia James is comfortable with this guy.
Okay, and that is kind of a... Now, I do hear he's got some support from Democrats in Congress and the Senate. There are I think Mark Warner, perhaps. There are lawyers. These lawyers do deals with each other over the years. I mean, does this possibly, for a split second, just harken back to a moment where, there was a vague sense of bipartisanship, and if you maybe disagreed with somebody on the issues, at least if, you knew they were qualified, you'd vote for them. Republicans and Democrats did that not too long ago, and now that's not the case anymore. Is it a nod back in that direction?
No, I don't think so. I think it's too partisan now. I think there were serious questions about Todd Blanche that are still hanging around because he was a Democrat New York City attorney for many years. And you've got this guy who's entrenched in the business world in New York for many, many years. So he's kind of an institution guy. He's been involved in these corporate mergers and all these SEC rules and global offerings and equity. So there's a real question, is this guy just going to protect the institutions that he came from, or is it going to be someone like Tulsi Gabbard who came out and went after the Trump agenda? She reduced the size of the bureaucracy. She declassified records and JFK stuff. She revealed what happened with the biolabs in Ukraine with Fauci. I mean, here's someone that went after the institutions, whereas Jay Clayton clearly is a product of the institutions. And I think that's what Letitia James liked about him, is that, hey, he's one of us.
It's interesting. Very interesting. Listen, you and I and a lot of our viewers have been very much concerned about Bill Stevenson, the ex-husband of Jill Biden. And it's just a maddening situation, charged with murder. No documents are available. I still can't get over something I found out actually last night. Jill Biden has written 2 books. I knew that, but I went back, and there are massive discrepancies in how she met Joe Biden in each book. In each book, she gives Joe Biden a different age for when they met. One says 32, the other says 31, and then elsewhere in the book, I think it says 30. Now, Joe was definitely married. I'm sorry, she was definitely married to Bill Stevenson, when Joe was 31. And it just harkens back to, if you tell the truth, you never have to remember what you say. But there are lots of different versions, because this is Bill Stevenson is right across the board about the Bidens.
Yeah, look, we've got a lot of concerns from your viewers because you had him on your show. He was such an honest guy and put forth a story that very much contradicted the very origin story of the Biden relationship. And there's concern that there might be some animosity toward him by the Bidens, by the corporation, which is the state of Delaware today. And I've been doing a little bit of research, and we just can't get any information from the state of Delaware about the case. We just found out there are actually 2 autopsies of his wife. They did an autopsy, and they found there's nothing wrong here. There's no foul play. They can't figure out exactly why she died, but there's no case for murder or anything, and they ordered a second autopsy, and somehow based on that, it looks like he was charged with murder. So we want to know who ordered a second autopsy, who performed it, and what did they find? So right now we have no information, and the concern is he getting railroaded because of the Biden story?
And how odd in your experience is it that a 78-year-old man, Bill Stevenson, who's in jail right now, not convicted of a crime, $2 million bail. $2 million. Now, Carmelo Anthony put a knife in a man's chest, and we all knew it. And he went home on house arrest, and I think the bail was $500,000, $400,000. And we got a serial rapist, you may have seen in the newspaper, alleged serial rapist, a lawyer from New Jersey who was living up in Boston. He's out on bail, $500,000. That is a ludicrously high number in a matter like this, isn't it?
Yeah, it's astounding because I found out his bail started at $500,000, and somehow the prosecution came in and said, "Oh, we want to bring it up to $2 million," and the judge agreed for a guy who's 78 years old and isn't going anywhere. They probably should have just sent him home on a ankle bracelet, for example, would have been the fair thing to do, because his trial is not until January of 2027. So he's got to rot in jail for another, 6 months. It seems very unfair. There's a lot of pieces of this puzzle that are making people uncomfortable. It's starting to feel like a January 6th case because everything is going against the defendant, and we have no evidence of any crime whatsoever.
All right, and you have been seeking documents, and the documents are they are not forthcoming, and it looks to me like they're trying to get out of it any way they can. The littlest of technicalities, or just being generally non-cooperative. I mean, there's a 911 call. I know when celebrities get in trouble, I hear the 911 call on TMZ. 3 hours later. This is now 6 months later. No 911 call. It's kind of important.
Well, I put in a FOIA request, 2 FOIA requests, one for records and one for communications. I got denied because I'm not a Delaware resident. I got a buddy of mine in Delaware to put the same FOIAs in. He got rejected saying, it's under investigation, which kind of doesn't make sense because he's already been charged. So you're right. There's no reason we can't have the body cams, the 911 call, and see what actually happened. At least something. Get the autopsy reports is what I really want to see. So we're just starting to see that everywhere you look, it seems like the system is against this guy, and we want to make sure he gets a fair trial.